Hello. As you can see, if you remember very well my CV, in my CV I told you that I was a trainer at Apechitumba TVET School, uh, which is now Apechitumba TSS. As you know, within this year 2022, there is a change of TVET to TSS, which is the Technical Secondary Schools. Now, as you can see, this module was developed in June 2020. So I mean this content, this note. So you can see this is for the level 5 trainees who will get the TVET certificate 5 in software development. The module is database development. The code SFDD D501, credits 12, which means 120 hours. The sector is the ICT and multimedia. So the subsector is software development. The module note issued June 2020. Trainer Manishing Mark. So let's continue with the first learning unit, which is the perform database structure. The learning outcome 1.1, we introduce structured query language, where we have the first topic, which is introduction to structured query language. So there are prerequisites. It means what the learner who is going to study this module should know before. Before you start practicing with various types of examples given in this module, I'm assuming that you are already aware about basics and fundamentals of database and what is computer programming language. So knowing these basic and the fundamentals of database, which is a module taught in level 4 software development, then what is computer programming language? So these two are enough for you to continue with me. So without losing our time, let's continue with the SQL editor. When you interact with Microsoft SQL Server databases, you mostly do it by writing, editing, and executing SQL queries, statements, stored procedures, and scripts. A good SQL editor will help you with database interaction by providing syntax, highlighting, robust codes completion functionality, the ability to get information about function, parameters, and other features that make your coding experience more efficient. In this module, I used Microsoft SQL Server Management Studio, which is this one. Let's you can see here in your programs, you see Microsoft SQL Server 2012. Now SQL Server Management Studio, which is the editor now. So you can see I can type here the queries here. I can type queries here. So but don't worry, because the queries I used work in both SQL Server and MySQL as a DBMS. So I also showed it when there is a difference. So you can download some for Windows on this link. This one, apathefriends.org, index.html, and use MySQL, MySQL SQL editor, which contains MariaDB. There are many other SQL editors that you can use, like MySQL Workbench, DBForge, Studio, DBeaver. So those are the other SQL editors that you can use. So let's continue with definitions of abbreviations for structured query language. SQL or SQL, some say SQL or SQL is a structured query language, which is a database computer language for storing, manipulating, and retrieving data stored in a relational database. So if we say relational database, there is relational means it saves data in tables. So there are other DBMSs like NoSQL, which uses documents. SQL is the standard language for relational database system or relational database management systems, written RD, relational database management system, RDMS, like R stands for relational, like Microsoft Access, Oracle, Sybase, Informix, Postgre, and SQL Server use SQL as their standard database language. SQL is widely popular because it can execute queries against database, retrieve data, insert records, update records, delete records from database, create a new database, create new tables in a database, create stored procedures in a database, create views in a database, and set permissions on tables, procedures, and views. So what we can say here, some abbreviations are laid here. So we have seen some abbreviations. Let's continue by seeing this SQL Server Engine and Management Studio. You can see the database engine here, service running on the computer in the background. So for us, we see this part, this one, which is the graphical user interface. but behind there are other things which are being done in the background. So what we see is this one, Management Studio, or a graphical user interface to the database used for configuration in the management of the database. Now let's move to SQL Server Management Studio. SQL Server Management Studio is a graphical user interface tool included with SQL Server for configuring, managing, and administering all components within Microsoft SQL Server. A central feature of SQL Server Management Studio is the Object Explorer, which allows the users to browse, select, and act upon any of the objects within the server. So this one, this is the Object Explorer. You can see, you can navigate here, whatever you are doing. Here it is a panel which is helpful while developing the database, while interacting with your queries. So let's look at it. Some features. You can see if you want to create, maybe if you want to type queries, you pass through here, new query, which is this one, new query. Then we have also here, let's see side by side, this one. Okay, you can see this one, SQL Server, this one, your SQL Server, this one. Let's expand this one. Then let's expand database also. You can see the school here, which is my database. Then you can see here tables. If I expand here, you can see tables inside my database. You see I have the terminis. Now there is another part of the results of the query. Let's, for example, use school, then select all from trainees, this one. Let's execute. You can see this part is the part of results of my query, this one. So let's move to the next slide here, this one. So when creating SQL commands and queries, the query editor, select new query from the toolbar is used, shown the figure above with SQL. So we have seen this one. Then let's move to the next slide. Description of the structured query language, sub-languages. We have these sub-languages, DDL, DML, DCL. We see DDL, data definition language, data manipulation language, data control language. So the SQL commands, the standard SQL commands to interact with relational databases are create, select, insert, update, delete, and drop. These commands can be classified into the following sublanguages based on their nature. Sublanguage number 1, data definition language. Sublanguage number 2, data manipulation language. Sublanguage number 3, data control language. So let's move on looking at the description of these structured query language commands per sublanguage. Sublanguage number 1, data definition language. This is a subset of SQL that is used to create, alter, loop, or otherwise changes definitions of tables, views, and other database objects. The name truncates. So as we move on, we will see the use of these commands. Let's look at them briefly. We have command and the description. The creates a new table, a view of a table, or other object in the database. Alter modifies an existing database object such as a table. Drop deletes an entire table, a view of a table or other objects in the database. Then rename names a database or a table by giving another name. For example, if we have the table called trainees, we can rename it to students, for example. Truncate is used to delete complete data from an existing complete tree. So is used to delete complete tree data from an existing table. So let's look at the data manipulation language commands. Select, insert, update, and delete. So used to add data to an existing tables within a database, or to edit or remove existing data from within database, as well as retrieving records from one or more tables. You can see we have select retrieves certain records from one or more tables, creates records, which is insert, modifies records, deletes records. So let's move on to the third one, data control language commands. Here we have guarantee and revoke. Used by the database administrator to guarantee or revoke privileges to users of the relational database management system. Examples: connect to the database, read data, insert data, modify database objects, export or import data. So we have guarantee, which gives a privilege to user, and we have revoke, which takes back privileges granted from user. So let's stop from here. Then next time we will come by seeing how we can create the database. So that was the learning outcome 1.1. Then we will move to the learning outcome 1.2. Thank you and see you next time.